I'm just wondering, what's the long-term solution? Is it even being thought of at this point with regards to improving the resilience of the hydro network and the wires and whatnot? Because we're seeing sort of outages like this certainly more frequently than in the past.
I think that regarding the resilience, it's an ongoing process. So already I think that Hydro-Quebec is one of the best in the world for resilience. Of course, with climate changes, we'll see this kind of problems more and more in the future. So we'll have to continue working on that. And like I said in French, we expect that tomorrow night at midnight, we'll have 70 to 80% of the population that will have electricity back. So still under control.
And has there been a specific request to Ottawa, the federal government, to help out in this scenario? I know Prime Minister said he was available to help if the request is put in. Is that being made?
We don't exclude anything. Of course, you've seen in the last federal budget that they'll give us a 30% tax credits for the work that'll be done by Hydro-Quebec. So, and it will be reimbursable. How you say that? Remboursable. Reimbursable tax credit, because as you know, Hydro-Quebec, it's not paying taxes, so it means that we'll get 30% back from the federal government in all the works that will done in the next few years.
Mr. Legault, Steve Rukavina from CBC. What is your message to Quebecers, many of whom are anxious, waiting for their power to come back on?
Okay, we have to be very careful. And especially the second day. So very often, and Sophie was telling me that, first day people are careful, second day they're getting tired and they are not careful. Unfortunately, like I said, at Les Coteaux, so close to Coteaux du Lac, a guy died because he tried to work on a tree. So we have to be very careful. Yes, if it's possible, you have to move your car if there's work to do in the area, but be careful, especially when there's some electricity around or trees around. So be careful, everybody, be patient. And I want to thank again all the employees of Hydro-Quebec because they're working on a long weekend now.
Hi, Caitlin Thomas, Montreal Gazette. I'm just wondering, there's a lot of stuff to do in the coming days. Is there one thing in particular that's going to be more challenging than the rest?
Making sure everybody has back the electricity. And it's always the same thing. The last 20-25%. Very often it's many problems for few people. So we'll have to keep on working on Sunday, maybe on Monday, to make sure that everybody, and Sophie told me that she'll be there until there's one only having not electricity. So.
Thank you. And just a clarification on the man who passed away. Was that an electrocution, or was it just a tree that fell? Or
what I heard and what I understand is that the tree fell on him. Yeah.
Thank you.
Monsieur Legault, what were your first impressions of the devastation that you saw so far?
I was surprised how fast it went. Yesterday afternoon, we thought that it would be all right, and after a few hours, there were 800,000 people without electricity. I was in Quebec City, so I noticed that it wasn't that bad in Quebec, but in the large Montreal and in Outaouais, it was terrible to see how many people without electricity. So we remember, of course, old people like me, 1998, 1.4 million people without electricity. So at the peak, we were at more than 1.1 million. So it's a lot. But fortunately, we're in April, not in January. So the temperature is getting better, and I hope that we'll have a good Easter weekend for most of the Quebecers.
As my colleagues mentioned, we've seen outages like these take a long time to recover and happening more frequently. Doesn't this highlight the need to accelerate the modernization of the equipment and the things that are, of the Hydro-Quebec equipment?
Well, first, we have to be realistic. Some people, they think that we can put all cables under the ground. It would cost $100 billion to do that only in Quebec. So we have to be realistic, but there will be new ways to make sure that we have less and less damages. But because unfortunately, we have to be prepared, we'll have more and more climate impact.